Hello and welcome in.
Please do not leave your luggage unattended on the station.
Welcome to the show.
What's up, everybody? We are live, Guerilla Sports, Broncos post-game live. Chad Brown. Kristen Brown. Normally we are in the studio as often as we can be, but tonight we are in Seattle. I was on the call for the Vikings-Seattle game, the exact opposite of this Broncos game. It was a Seattle butt-kicking 26-0. Vikings couldn't put up any offense, and now we just watched the Broncos with a heart attack-inducing, thrilling, overtime, last second win against the Commanders. Your immediate thoughts, Kristen Brown?
My immediate thoughts is, you know what? We can win in the fourth quarter. We can win in the fifth quarter. How about that? That is something I love that. Okay, I'm getting too far ahead of myself. But we believed we could win the whole time. I don't know about Bronco country. I was a little bit nervous.
Okay.
A little bit. Just a little bit. But how about that? The fifth quarter. Is that what it's called? It's overtime.
It's overtime.
We
Yeah.
call it the fifth quarter?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
We didn't win the fourth quarter, but we won the fifth quarter.
Yeah, we've seen the Broncos win many times this year
Yeah.
in the fourth quarter and play their best football in the fourth quarter. Now this time they get it done in the fifth quarter. And I would say, I don't know if there was a best Broncos quarter, but they did enough to get the win. The Commanders go for 2 points after getting the opportunity. Dan Quinn could have kicked the field goal and tied the game up. But with the overtime rules, if the Broncos, didn't score on their drive, then it would end a tie game.
Right, I don't like a tie.
And so for Dan Quinn and the Washington Commanders being 3-8, nothing to lose there. And your quote was, "You hate playing a team
Who's got nothing to lose because they play reckless, they play rough, and I didn't like it."
All right, well, so because Dan Quinn and the Commanders had nothing to lose, they go for the win, go for the 2-point conversion. Nick Bonito makes the game-saving play, blocks Marcus Mariota's pass. Broncos get the win, but they sure love to keep us on the edge of our seats here.
The edge, the absolute edge. So there's so much to talk about.
Okay, where do you want to start?
Well, I want to talk about the fact that this is week 13,
Mhm.
right? Week 13, and we are still winning. We've won 10 games,
Mhm.
and a lot of them just crazy. But we've won them, I feel like, all the ways now, right? So
Has there been a blowout win?
well, blowout, but we've won the
Mhm.
games in so many different ways
Mhm.
and we still have time to win them in even more ways. But what I'm liking here is the fact that we'll be able to use all of these things in our wheelhouse, right?
Mhm.
Because it's not like we just have one way to win a game.
Right.
We'll win in overtime. We'll win in fourth quarter. We'll win, in the beginning. We've had games where we've come out and we've had the lead. We haven't always had to come back from behind. But the belief that you can do it even in OT, y'all, did you get the number that I left? What was it, last week on Tuesday? No. Okay. I don't know if you saw our last show.
It was 2 weeks ago because they had the bye.
Yes.
Yes.
But I gave the number for
Mhm.
playoff tickets. So I don't know if y'all took down that number. Google if you don't have it. But get your playoff tickets. Get your playoff tickets. Ooh, get your tickets to Santa Clara. Is that presumptuous? I do love San Francisco.
Well, yes, and guess who was born in San Francisco?
Your girl. Yeah.
Yeah. So, do we dive into a little bit of a review of the game, the back and forth nature of the game?
Yeah. Well, I think we also start off with, what did you expect to see in this game today?
Well, as evidenced by my pre-show tweets and little video clip, I was hoping the Broncos would play to their standards, and I think they kind of did for the most part. But Washington played far better than most people expected. And to your point about having nothing to lose, they played like they had nothing to lose. So Dan Quinn and this Commanders team, they were loose. Marcus Mariota played probably better than what he's played in the last couple of years.
He was calm out there.
Yeah, and the Commanders defense had good command of things as
They
well.
did.
So I did not expect the Commanders to play as well as they did.
Yeah.
And the Broncos, it's still some of the same things that plague us. To your point, it's week 13. You would love to get past that. So before you go booking reservations for Santa Clara, I would feel comfortable buying playoff tickets. But you got to find a way to be less penalized team.
Yeah.
You got to find a way to run the ball more effectively. Got to find a way to grab hold of control of the game and not let it slip through your fingers in multiple ways.
So my hopes is that play calling will change a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, this is slipping. With how we won, we want to win stronger than that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this will finally be the game where play calling changes, and it's like we have got to run the ball more, and we've got to have Bo run more.
Well, I hear you, Kristen Brown.
Okay.
But all you guys out there who heard Sean Payton talk about post halftime, we got to run the ball better. We got to run the ball more.
Yeah.
They would say, well, I've heard that, I don't know, 5-6 times from Sean Payton this season. Last year, I heard that 10 times from Sean Payton.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what happens when you get that big play sheet in your hands, and there's a section of run plays, but for whatever reason, your eyes keep being drawn to pass plays or trick plays or whatever Sean Payton sees as more fun or more desirable than the run plays, but it happens over and over and over again.
Okay, well, let's talk about the whole, what was that? 3 people touched the ball and nothing happened. And they called it a free play. I was like, what are you talking about? That's not, what is a free play? I thought for sure a free play was when.
It was 2nd and 1. Yes.
It's 2nd and 1.
You're talking about the flea flicker play.
Yeah, so
yes.
Chris said, is his name right?
Chris Collinsworth.
Yeah,
yes.
Chris Collinsworth. He's like way famous. He says it was like a free play because it was 2nd down. And I was like, what is this free play thing?
Okay, so
because it was costly, I thought, in the end.
So for a offense, 2nd and 1, you assume, well, if we don't get the first down here, we'll get it on 3rd down or 4th down. So
that sounds like pride.
So you're looking at it as money in the bank. We're already going to get a first down, so we can have an opportunity to run something unusual or different here on 2nd down.
Okay.
So yes. I've seen that skeptical look before. It made me uncomfortable just to see it.
Well, they talked about the Commanders coach. What's his name?
Dan Quinn.
There we go. They talked about how his strategy was to play consistent and to play. They studied. They studied the Broncos. They studied the best way to try to beat the Broncos. And they just did that clean and consistently. And they almost beat us.
Right.
So I just don't know about trick plays that are supposed to be free. That's not free. That was costly.
Okay. Now, Sean loves a trick play.
Okay.
And Sean loves himself as a play caller. So play callers love to do trick plays. And I've said it before on this very post-game show, you got to be the first one to call a trick play because after that trick play happens, what does everybody say on the sideline? Be ready for the trick play. So you want to be the first one to call it. Again, I didn't love the situation. We've seen questionable trick play situations before this year.
Yeah.
But 2nd and 1, the quote unquote free play.
Yeah.
That's actually the play to do it on.
But it's not.
It's not free. It's a poor description, but yes, I hear what you're saying.
Is when someone jumps off sides or the false start and you're not the team who did it, then you keep playing because whatever happens, it doesn't matter. It's free. There's a flag. It's coming back unless it's good and you deny the flag. Right?
All right. Well, we're already getting comments. Okay, we'll answer this as you lament the free play logic. All right, from Rod CT Ainge. Why was that running back so wide open if Benito didn't save the game? That's wild. Okay, so as a offense, when someone decides to go with pressure against you, as the Broncos frequently do, you have 2 options with your running back. You can keep your running back in to block the additional pass rushers, or you can have him act like he's going to block and slip out of the backfield. So that's what the Commanders chose to have him do. And Vance Joseph rolled the dice thinking, we're going to be able to get pressure in your quarterback's face before he can get the ball off to that back who essentially kind of fooled our defense, acting like he was going to block and slip out. So that's the offensive plan there. Defensively, because you're bringing extra guys, you don't have anybody short. All you guys are back covering all the deep stuff because you don't want a big play to happen. you're fine to give up a dump to the running back. So that's kind of the risk reward thing that play callers on both sides have to figure out. So Vance figured, you know what? I got so many guys who can get back to the quarterback so fast. I'm willing to roll the dice here. If they dump it off to the running back, we can find a way to tackle them. Something we'll find a way to win. So I didn't particularly have an issue with how the Commanders chose to go about it, nor did I have an issue with how Vance went about it. And clearly, from the evidence on the field, it was the correct call by Vance.
Okay, someone is tired of these weekly heart attacks. Curtis, my man, me too.
Okay. So obviously I've been around football since I was 6 years old. I'm 55 years old. So 49 years of football in my life. I can sit here. Yes, it's my spring chicken wife. So I can sit and watch football and giggle and laugh in the middle of overtime. This one has to pace up and down. She has to turn her back to the TV. She has to say several times, "I can't even watch this." So Curtis, yes, you got somebody who has the same mindset that you have.
I'm with you.
All right, keep the comments coming in. We got a couple more here. Ooh, from Ray Montez, 3212. Bad calls and also bad discipline on both sides. Not sure how to feel about this W. Okay, so the Broncos came into this game with as the most penalized football team in the NFL, the most penalty yards in the NFL coming into the game.
That takes commitment.
Most of the teams have already played their games today. There's only one more game left this week. That's tomorrow on Monday night. So despite having one less game than most of the teams in the NFL, the Broncos still had the most penalties and penalty yards. And it showed up again today. So Hufanga with the pass interference and overtime kept the Washington drive going. There was a penalty on Nick Bonito ripping the guy off the pile.
Yeah, that. I got a little hot during that one. Go ahead.
Yes. So it showed up again, this penalty thing. So the bad discipline thing that you're talking about, Ray, is an issue. And if you want to go deep in the playoffs, and if you want to win all these one-score games, I keep saying this, but they keep finding ways to win these one-score games.
Yeah.
But at some point, you're not going to play the 3-8 now, 3-9 Commanders. You're going to play somebody who's 9-3, or in the playoffs, somebody who's 12-5, or 14-3, who's really, really good, who doesn't make those kind of mistakes. And your undisciplined plays will be the difference between winning and losing.
I think what's been helpful for us is we've been playing teams who've been struggling with discipline as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's like, I'll see you and I'll raise you type thing. But the lack of penalties that they have, I mean, that's commitment, right?
Yeah. I mean, the amount of penalties they have. Yeah.
Like, who can get that done? It's pretty impressive.
All right. Patrick Kerberry.
Ooh,
have any of Sean's trick plays worked out this year?
Ooh. I remember that. Well, I don't know if it was technically a trick play, but where Bo lined up over here, and then somebody else was under center.
Okay, yes.
Was that a trick play?
That would go in the trick play category. Anytime you're not within the traditional quarterback gets the play and he hands it off or runs it, and there's all the extra stuff, or it's a direct snap to somebody, that's a trick play. That's fair.
Okay. Well, I remember that one working.
That one worked. That was true, but it wasn't like the typical trick play we think of. Oh, here's a reverse. Oh, no, it's not a reverse. It's a pitch back to the quarterback. And the quarterback's going to throw it down the field. Mm-hmm. So to Patrick's point, yeah, I can think of very few, and I'll have to kind of, as the show goes along, hope I can reference my mental Rolodex here, of a successful traditional trick play from the Broncos and Sean Payton this year. Nothing's coming to mind, unfortunately.
Okay, well, nothing's coming to mind for me when I think about just watching football as long as I have. I haven't played it since I was 6. I'm watching probably since I was 6.
Right. But you're only 26.
Exactly.
Yes.
So it's a 20-year commitment here. How often do these trick plays even work? What are the odds overall?
I'm sure someone has done a statistical analysis on that. And my guess, it would be less than 50%. How far less? Maybe 40%.
Oh.
But when they hit, they change the momentum. Suddenly the defense starts to play a little bit scared because, I can't be as aggressive because what if it's another trick play again? I fell for the banana in the tailpipe once. I don't want to fall for it again. And then suddenly you may think, my eyes are deceiving me. So you don't attack the play as you should because you're afraid of whether something comes back the other way. So the effect, the domino effect it has against the defense, that's why as a play caller, you insert them into your game.
Okay.
Even if it
Okay.
doesn't pan out,
Yeah.
the defense still has to be conscious of they might try that shit again.
Well, why? It didn't work.
because it didn't work, but the guy was open, or it did work and it just missed by a little bit. So I'm going to go to it again.
Oh, well, I guess, with Sean, you might think he might do it again. So there is that thought there. But the fact that if you've been watching tape, you'll go, it's probably not going to work. So let's not fault for it.
Okay. The first time you rode a bike
Yes.
and you saw that tree,
Yes.
did you run into the tree?
Not when you run into the tree.
Okay, well, most people aren't like you. And so they were unable to take their eyes off the tree. So they ran directly into the tree. And I think Sean Payton, as a play caller, he looks at that section of his play sheet and he's unable to take his eyes off of it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Instead of scanning all around, he's like, oh man, those trick plays look really good.
All right.
What's Sean's wife's name? Skylene?
Yes.
Maybe he's got a little picture next to Skylene
No,
on the trick play section
I
of
don't
the
know.
play sheet.
I want to get a hold of his boards.
Okay.
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 Go to these when we're desperate and it's necessary.
All right.
Okay.
Keep the comments coming because
Yeah,
we're
what do
loving
we
them.
got
All right. Dan Delegates, I'm out in Georgia. I'm going to be tired in the morning. Good win for the Broncos in prime time. Yes. We travel around the country, more so than you, but you get a chance to do this as well, and do football all around the country. So we have to have these conversations. People know that we spend most of our time in Denver. So everywhere we go, people have Bronco questions. And I have to say the amount of Bronco believers nationwide are very few. And so while you're talking about the great win there, I think they're going to look at this win as you had to go to overtime to beat the Commanders, and they essentially had an opportunity to at least tie the game, and they decided to go for two, and it took a lucky batted pass to get the win. So unfortunately for me and for you, Kristen, these Bronco questions will continue. The Bronco doubters around the country will be there. Bronco country clearly believes in the Broncos.
I do.
Because they keep finding ways to win these one-score games, but nationally it has not led, in my experience, from the questions I have to answer, to a high level of respect for the Denver Broncos around the country. They poke holes in the resume. All these fourth quarter wins, all these one-score wins. Bo Nix can't get anything done until the fourth quarter. Sean Payton hates the run game. This is the things I have to hear and questions I have to answer. So
I'll just be like, you know what? Check the score. Check tape. Who won?
Well, I always say that. I was like, well, they're finding ways to win.
Yes.
And they say, well, it's one-score games. You're not going to be able to do that in the playoffs.
I think we will, though.
It's one-score games. And when it comes down to the Chiefs game on Christmas and the division's up for grabs, which probably is not going to happen because the Chiefs keeps falling down, stumbling,
Exactly. Yeah.
you're not going to be able to do that against the Chiefs. So I'm just saying these are things that I hear.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not saying I believe it.
No, I get you. I feel you on that. Yeah.
Do you feel me?
I feel you.
Okay.
We feel you like Benito's from that guy. Okay.
All right. So Ray Montez, 32-12. Did you guys see the Commanders lose the overtime coin toss and choose to kick in which direction to kick? The rest were trying their best to hand the game to both sides tonight. Glad it didn't matter. There was definitely some questionable officiating. Also just some structural things with the replay process. Because while Mariota was down, he was down because he was illegally tripped. And the fact that the refs can't throw the flag, even though it's clear in the replay that he was tripped, they do have to respect the fact that he was down because that's reviewable, but not the tripping call being reviewable. So there was a number of questionable calls tonight. But hand it to both sides, that speaks to a conspiracy that I didn't see. I just saw it was an off night for the refs and it wasn't a clean game for them.
Ooh, is there superstition in football?
Of course there's superstition in football. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, what else you got, sweetheart?
Okay.
Live by the defense, die by the defense.
What
Well,
do you think?
we keep winning by the defense.
Yeah.
We keep winning by the defense. And it literally took some amazing plays by Mariota to keep things going for the Commanders because the amount of pressure we were able to get on a number of those plays. If it wasn't for those great efforts by Mariota, this game would have been probably tied up in regulation. So gosh, I mean, on one hand, you want to say the Broncos defense did their job, but certainly they allowed the Commanders to be in the game that late and then also into overtime.
Yeah, it was interesting because you saw the Commanders definitely had a strategy.
Mhm.
They're like, okay, we know who we're playing. We got to get this ball out fast. And it was working for them. They were really moving the ball down the field. So what I found interesting was how we just kept blitzing, and didn't play a lot of zone, it seemed like.
Mhm.
And I know that's what we do. But did you ever feel like, okay, maybe we need to do something different defensively to meet them where they're at?
Okay, well, you know me, Captain, deep as the ocean over here. Give myself a fun nickname. Captain Deep as the ocean. Okay, but that speaks to what is your philosophy? And are you beholden to your philosophy, or is that why you win? So for Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions, as an
Okay.
example, we all watched Thanksgiving Day football.
Yeah, we did.
Detroit Lions were 0 for 2 on fourth down. Dan Campbell is notorious for going forward on fourth down.
Okay.
Those were big plays in the game.
Mhm.
They are 0 for 7 on fourth down over the last 2 losses.
Okay.
So is Dan Campbell hurting his football team, or is he just playing within his philosophy? That's how they got to be the Lions. That's how they got to be successful, by going for it on fourth down, by being courageous, by laying it all on the line. This is who we are. This is what we do. So applying that question to Vance Joseph and his Broncos defense, in critical moments in the ball game, do you go coverage or do you go pressure? I got Jonathan Cooper. I got Nick Bonito. I've got Jonah Ellis. I've got Zach Allen. I'm going pressure.
Really? Like, no matter what?
Yeah, go with what got you there. Go with got you to 9 wins.
Okay.
Now, I believe there should be a little bit more of a nuanced approach,
Okay.
but the prevailing football philosophy
Okay.
is this is what we've done to be successful. We'll stay with this. I prefer to look at the situation game by game, series by series, and play by play.
Yeah.
And okay, they're expecting pressure from us here. So now we'll go rush 3 and we'll drop 8, which Vance does occasionally.
Okay.
But obviously, an overwhelming majority of the time, he's going to dial up pressure rather than going with coverage.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Well, let's talk about Moss, because
Yes,
boy, did he clean it up.
he did well. So he put on the boxing gloves
Yeah.
at practice,
It was good.
and so he got beat for that, near touchdown to Debo Samuels, which put them, down there near the end zone, which ended up being a score for the Commanders.
Yeah, but they got down there not because of Moss.
Okay, but Riley Moss cleaned up.
Yeah.
No pass interference.
Yeah.
So
great.
wearing the gloves was good.
Yeah.
That was a good exercise. Sometimes it feels a bit performative when players do something like that.
Yeah.
But it actually paid dividends during the game.
Yeah.
And so he was far cleaner. And again, Riley Moss has got the most difficult job maybe in football, out of being a backup quarterback who's suddenly thrust into a game with no reps or experience, Shedeur Sanders, or heck, Max Brosmer today in the Vikings Seattle game that I called. He was not so good. 4 interceptions, 4 sacks. But so to be Riley Moss opposite Pat Surtain, you're going to be attacked. With the pass interference penalties, people are going to come after you.
Right.
Yet you've got to find a way to withstand all that pressure and resist the temptation to grab, resist the temptation to get frustrated, resist the temptation to get down on yourself, and still come out and play your game.
Yeah, I thought he did a great job. I was very impressed to see that, because they targeted him. It was great to have Surtain back as well.
Yeah, I thought Pat was a little rusty.
Mm-hmm.
Teams aren't fearing Pat this year the same way they feared him last year.
Mm.
They're not afraid to attack him. Even with a backup quarterback, Mariota's been a starter in this league, but even with a backup quarterback, they're not afraid to go after him from a game plan, schematic structure. We're going to run this play against that guy, and we're cool with that.
Okay.
Last year, people didn't do that as much.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
There we go, Jesse. Wes Williams, real estate, give you a shout out for your company there. Why did the defense struggle so much tonight versus the run and getting pressure and sacks? Okay. Well, this defense is built to get pressure. So if you want to be able to do all things defensively, you can't. So if you were George Payton building this roster, what are you going to value more? Big bodies and run stuffing, or quick, agile athletes who can get after a quarterback? clearly they chose quick, agile athletes who get after a quarterback. And so the run stuffers on this defense, we don't have like a giant 345-pound nose guard who eats up blocks in the middle. We don't have a 250-pound linebacker. Alex Singleton is probably a bit of a throwback with the run pass style, not necessarily the greatest pass defender, although he had a tremendous play tonight. In some ways, maybe the player of the game with his effort coming back from the testicular cancer surgery and all that. This roster is not structured defensively to be run stuffing. They are structured to get after the quarterback. But I thought the offensive line for the Commanders did a tremendous job. That holding call late was probably maybe the one bugaboo they had with the rookie offensive tackle going against a tremendous pass rush for the Broncos. But sometimes you're going to get an offensive line who performs really well. But Vance was able to get pressure on Mariota and force him to scramble and force him off his spot. He couldn't just sit clean in the pocket. So while the sack numbers may have not been tremendous, the amount of quarterback hits, the amount of quarterback pressures, the amount of times he was forced to move his feet and get off the spot, I think Vance would be probably pretty happy with what they were able to accomplish there, but probably not as happy with their run defense and the Commanders' ability to really run the ball straight down the teeth of the Broncos defense pretty much all game long. I don't think they put up huge numbers, but they were consistent at it. They never went away from it, and the Broncos really never had an answer for it all game long.
I wonder what the time of possession was. I don't recall, but I was impressed with our defense because they were working hard out there and, trying to defend the run. They certainly were struggling. So I'm happy we did enough to get this W in the end.
Okay.
But I was very impressed.
35 minutes of possession for the Commanders.
Okay.
32-13 for the Broncos. So fairly decent. Okay. But if you start looking at the stats, 30 first downs for the Commanders, 23 for the Broncos. So the Broncos defense, probably the biggest bugaboo is they couldn't get off field on third down.
Yeah.
And you allow people to extend drives either due to penalties, which showed up a number of times, or just because they convert third downs. You give an offensive coordinator enough looks at your defense, no matter how good your defense is, the Broncos defense is really good, they're going to find holes. They're going to find guys to attack. And so the Commanders were able to do that. So I thought Dan Quinn and his staff did a tremendous job. The Broncos clearly going into the game and in the game were the better, more talented football team, but it just goes to show what somebody can do when they ramp up their best effort. And to Kristen's point when we start this podcast, they got nothing to lose. Let's throw it all out there. Let's just see what sticks to the wall. And they had a bunch of stuff that stuck. And they felt comfortable going back to it.
Okay.
Back-to-back no calls on offensive pick plays near the goal line from Andrew Pugh, 93-22. Yeah, those are always a bit difficult to defend. It's is it a pick if he happens to run into you? Now, obviously, the receiver can't just go out and block somebody, but if he happens to run a route in your way, it's difficult for the officials to officiate, and they're not going to call it unless that receiver is specifically looking at that defensive back and trying to line him up. Outside of that, the league wants offenses to score. They want to make life difficult for the defense. They know fans love scoring. So officials are taught to keep that flag in the pocket unless it's really clear and obvious that it was a pick play. And we've seen that a number of times, both on the Broncos offense, but when the Broncos defense has been picked as well, when the receiver literally is going out there and trying to block the guy and not at least putting on a acting performance that he's going to run around. So, yeah, it's not really fair to complain too much about that. All teams in the NFL do that, particularly down at the goal line with those short crossing routes. It's a staple in the NFL, and the league officials are going to allow that to happen. All right, from Andrew again. Mr. Brown, what are your thoughts on Bonino running straight up the field the entire fourth quarter, allowing Mariota to scramble? Was it fatigue or something else? Obviously made a big play, but making it hard. Okay, so as a pass rusher, you need to have a certain amount of discipline, because if you get too far upfield, to your point, Andrew, you open up a lane, you get far upfield, you open up a lane for the quarterback to run underneath. And so as a pass rusher, how do you maintain that discipline? You want to get off the ball on the snap. You want to be quick into the backfield, but we've seen Nick Bonito overrun plays because of his desire to get into the backfield. At the same time, he also makes plays. So, what do you tell a playmaker as a coach? That thing that helps you make plays, I want you to stop doing that. So I feel you. I understand where you're coming from, Andrew, because you want these guys to be conscious of all that. But when your job is to attack the backfield, as Nick Bonito's job is, to tell him to suddenly slow down, be more cautious, put his antenna up and look around rather than just pinning his ears back and getting in the backfield, that's not how he made plays at Oklahoma. I've called a number of his games at Oklahoma, and that's not how he's made plays the last 2 years as a Bronco. So I don't think that's suddenly going to get better. Now, if Vance were to say to Nick during the course of the week, hey, we're playing, I'm not sure who the quarterback would be because Michael Vick doesn't exist in the NFL anymore. But if they were playing the Atlanta Falcons of old and Michael Vick was the quarterback, he would tell Nick, hey, don't do that because you're going to just open up a lane. This guy's going to gash us for 40 or 50 yards. So unless that quarterback is going to be the Broncos' opponent, I'd imagine Vance is happy with Nick's style right now, and he may only ask him to change it in very isolated circumstances. I got a couple other notes here. I want to go back to the penalties. So this has been an issue all year long.
Yeah.
And I think everybody expects or hopes their team is a disciplined football team.
Yeah.
But there's just a certain looseness to this team.
Yeah.
And we've seen it from Sean Payton going on the field, getting flagged. What was it, 2 weeks ago? Getting in the white on the sideline, and the ref running into him.
Stay back.
Yeah, so there's just a certain looseness here, which probably makes for a fun environment.
Yeah.
But it manifests itself in mistakes on the field, penalties on the field, which extend drive for opponents or kill drives for Bo Nix and the offense.
Yeah. Yeah, I would like to see that really come to an end. I mean, we've got a comment here about Moss, which we talked about earlier. He did have a really good game. So we've seen some discipline there. But to see more discipline, and especially like the silly things, like the flip of the guy, like that's just unnecessary. And I can imagine you get excited, tempers get whatever, but to be disciplined still. Because what's the goal? The goal is to win and to focus on that. Because those little things will hurt us with the right team. I believe that to be true. And I got to give Tanya a shout out because she's so excited. She said she's happy she has tomorrow off because she just thinks she'll be able to sleep. Girl, I feel you. And I used to give my kids a holiday. I would just tell the teachers, look, we were up late watching football. They'll be in late tomorrow.
Now, this is going to sound crazy, but sometimes it's really hard to digest the lesson because you win.
Oh, facts. And
so if you continue to win, it's easy to go, coach, why are you tripping, man? We won. I know we had more penalties than the other team, but we won. And so the lesson gets lost because you keep winning. And then imagine being a Bronco in Denver right now. Everywhere you go, everyone's telling you how awesome you are. You're picking up groceries at the grocery store. Great win, guys. That was so awesome to see. You listen to the radio. Another Bronco win. You're watching commercials on TV. Bo Nix is doing commercials, and he's smiling because we're winning. Everything's going great. So it's hard to digest the lessons then. I'm not saying they should lose to digest the lesson, but that's the difficulty when you continue to find ways to win, is it doesn't sink in. You don't really begin to look yourself in the mirror until you lose.
This one, they were really, really close to losing.
Yes.
And they certainly were close to having a tie, which honestly, that feels like a loss. So do you think maybe that will be like, okay, what was that? We got away with it. Like, okay, right?
We've all seen the coach in the locker room with a ball in his hand at the post game. We showed great resilience, man. We got to find some way to clean up things, but that was a great victory. We were a little undisciplined, but I loved our football character. What did you hear in that?
I would be like, okay, wait a minute, y'all. What the heck was that?
But what you? I mean, if you're a football team, did you hear we got to find a way to clean up the mistakes, or we showed great football characters? So these positives that he's saying in this post game speech, that's what everybody hears. And those negatives, they get pushed to the side because we won, coach. Why are you tripping, man?
You say we won.
Why are you tripping, coach?
Freaking barely.
Why are you tripping,
almost
coach?
lost that thing. Almost lost it.
Again, it's hard to digest the lessons when you win.
Oh, I should play football because I digest things.
Okay, that Bronco weight room tomorrow when they get their workouts in before they watch tape.
Yeah.
Music's going to be loud. Everybody's going to be happy.
Yeah.
They're going to be dancing around, having a good time.
Yeah.
And they're going to watch the tape, and the coach is going to get on them a bit, and they're going to leave and be like, you found a way to win again.
Okay, yeah, well, on the next week for sure.
Right.
But they got to address the things that need to be cleaned up.
But we've been saying this all year.
Well, and you think about where we are in the season,
Uh-huh.
There's a lot of footage to study.
Okay.
There's a lot of Vance Joseph's defense to study.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of Sean Payton to study. There's a lot of Bo to study. Watch Bo's eyes. There's so many things to study and to go, okay, if we can do these 5 things well, we can win this game, perhaps, right? Because I am Bo leaving, I'm a Bronco fan, y'all know that. But I just feel like there's so much tape at this point that there's got to be some pivots. There's got to be some new things, or really honing in on what we do super well, but also knowing who you're playing, because people are studying us like big time. And that's why they were getting the ball out so fast, because they know that we're leading the league in sacks. Okay, so I mean, it's a tough job. I don't want it, honestly. I don't want it. So there's just so much of an opportunity here to also look at tape. And I know you say when you get the win, you don't really look back, but I feel like there's a lot to look back at and go, what are those little things that almost cost us? Because we can clean up the things that almost cost us.
What you say makes complete sense.
Okay.
And I'm just trying to indicate what the thought process is in the locker rooms that I've been in. Again, it's very hard to digest the lesson when you win. Heck, I was on an undefeated team in the regular season. And Bill Belichick tried as hard as he could, but that entitlement, that everyone patting us on the back mentality, it just creeps into the locker room, and it gets more and more difficult to be objective with things when you're continuing to find ways to win.
Well, then all we're going to do is win, no matter what. And I'll be happy with that, honestly. We can win in the 5th quarter.
All right, so from cap-wise, I see your point, but I feel like the Colts game was the wake-up call, especially the way the game was lost. I think the culture is there. Sean has some boys grinding on Thanksgiving. Okay. I agree with that, rather than the Coach Hackett's Thanksgiving Day off. It was great to see that Sean is implementing some of those more traditional football coach, keep focus kind of things. But going counter to your point there, the penalties still continue to show up. So that hasn't changed. So I recognize the Colts game, they probably look back at that game as look at what we let slip through our fingers as far as a win or a W there. So let that win slip through their fingers due to a penalty, giving the Colts a second opportunity to kick that field goal. But the penalties still happen. And so many of these penalties are completely unnecessary penalties. Penalties that happen in the course of a play and you're an aggressive football team. Hey, you got caught grabbing Riley Moss. You jumped a little early on the receiver, Hufanga. I got some grace for that because that's within the course of the play. But if you're Nick Bonito and you're snapping somebody off the pile by his face mask, that's post-play. That's a discipline thing. The pre-snap penalties, the false starts, the offsides, that's a discipline thing. So I'm willing to give some grace to in-play penalties, just not as nearly as much grace for pre-play or post-play penalties. Yeah. Looking at the stat sheet here from the game, a couple of things stand out. Broncos, 23 carries for 87 yards, 3.8 yards per carry. So the run game still not as effective as we would like it to be. As you get closer towards the end of the season, obviously the weather gets worse. as you get into the postseason, chances of you playing a weather game, whether it's at home for the Broncos or somewhere else in the AFC. What if you got to go to New England and it's a weather game? And what if it's a weather and it's a wind game and the passing game is greatly curtailed? You want to be able to grind out wins by running the football.
Right.
So some of these things, again, we don't apologize for wins. You take the win, overtime, fifth quarter, fourth quarter. You always take the win. But again, if we're going to push this team to where we want them to go, these are some things that have got to be concerning there. But it was on the positive side, looking at some of the stats as well. Evan Ingram, long of 41 yards. That was a big play in the game. 6 receptions for 79 yards. Again, slowly but surely, Evan Ingram is starting to become a consistent, steady part of the game plan. How he was lacking a bit early was kind of, where's this joker guy we thought was going to be so important? Well, he's making some splash plays in this game. Cortland Sutton continues to be Mr. Dependable. 5 receptions for 62 yards along with 31. 5 receptions on 6 targets, so very efficient night for him. Adam Trotman, that was a big play in the first half, that catch on the sideline there. So, a lot of guys involved in the pass reception game. Even little Jordan Humphrey was targeted. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 different Bronco receivers targeted. 10 guys with receptions. Again, little Jordan Humphrey was targeted but did not get a reception. So that's nice to have a variety of guys that Bo Nix is throwing the football to.
I do love that part. That does not always just go to the same person.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bo Nix only sacked once. That's also good. Bo Nix just has a skill at avoiding sacks, whether it's getting rid of the football, whether it's escaping the pocket. So that continues to be an improving part of his game. 29 completions on 45 attempts, 321 yards, 7.1 yard average, 1 TD, 1 interception. Offensively, a lot of positive there. Obviously, the score was something that you would certainly love to, put up every single week, to put up 27 points, because we had some games where we couldn't do that, Jets game. So that's far better. But then again, the defense, you would love for them to play better against what you would consider to be an outmanned and outmatched opponent in the Washington Commanders. Yeah.
I thought Bo threw some really good balls, and then when he checked out of the plays and ran, I thought that was really good too. I see him getting better and better each week. And then I remind myself this is only his second year, and I get really excited.
Okay. Which was the commenter with the comments about the penalties? Oh, Capwise.
Yes.
Okay. So looking at the team stats here. The Washington Commanders, 30 first downs. 3 of those first downs were due to penalties. And the Commanders didn't give the Broncos any first downs due to penalties. And so first downs extend drives.
Yes.
Extend drives usually end up in points. So if you're going to give people free first downs due to penalties, that becomes an issue. So I'm just want to make this point about penalties clear from my experience. I know you guys probably hate when I dive into my Patriot times, but the Patriots had very few signs up in their facility. There's a sign when you walked in the door that said every battle is won or lost before it's fought. The great Sun Tzu quote from The Art of War. There's one sign before you walk into the team meeting room: penalties lose games. And so the Broncos have found a way to avoid that football truism, because they keep finding ways to win. But again, if you continue to do it, you probably may find yourself on the other side of that. And there was one other sign which doesn't really apply to this game or podcast, but I always thought it was a great sign, and I use this phrase all the time. It was in the training room at the Patriots facility. Your best availability is your availability. Are you available for your team or not? Are you in the training room with a hot tub and nursing an injury? You can't help us if you can't play. So just giving some lore for my Patriot days.
Some lore. Love it.
Yes. All right, Capwise. Great stuff, Chad and Kristen. And for tomorrow, let's go Giants. Okay, a Giants fan. They've had obviously a bit of an up and down season. I think Jackson Dart is returning from concussion, so we'll see that.
I still got a chip on my shoulder.
Oh, okay, yes, Capwise. Thank you for the reminder. Okay, Evan Ingram, the 41-yard reception on the jerk route. So that is the ability of a joker type of player to get matched up on a linebacker. Bobby Wagner is going to make the Hall of Fame when his career is done. great linebacker for the Commanders. Used to be here in Seattle, which is where we are, broadcasting from our hotel room in Seattle. So Bobby Wagner's going to go to the Hall of Fame. But clearly he's an older player and doesn't have the footwork he once had. So for Sean Payton to dial up that play to the Joker guy, a Joker really being a guy where I can create mismatches. So that was a mismatch for Evan Ingram versus Bobby Wagner with that jerk route. Sit down, get the linebacker to stop his feet, jerk left, come back to the inside. This older linebacker can't get his feet started again in enough time, create separation, ends up being a 41-yard play. Huge play call, and Evan Ingram stepping up for this Broncos offense when they needed him most. So that was a very good reminder. I appreciate that. That was a great play call, great play design, and a perfect use of the Joker position.
The Joker position. That's okay. Tell me more. Like, do all teams have Joker positions?
No, they don't. And it's not really position, but
That player.
Sean Payton wants to find this guy who he can create mismatches with. So Evan Ingram, his position is technically tight end. So from a defensive perspective, when you look at the personnel on the field and they have a tight end on the field, okay, we're going to put certain personnel. We're going to leave a linebacker on the field because they've got a tight end on the field. They may run the ball with the tight end on the field.
Okay.
So Bobby Wagner's on the field. The Broncos end up passing the ball, but because of Evan Ingram's position flexibility to be a tight end, but also be fast enough to run away from most linebackers, Sean Payton can create a mismatch.
Okay.
We win with tight end and a running back. We force you to keep a linebacker on the field, but we got a guy who can outrun your linebacker, and I'm going to utilize that position.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So you're really dictating to them and keeping them.
Yes, you're able to play this great mismatch with them because they choose to respond to that with a linebacker. Well, then we'll run a pass play.
Okay.
They choose to respond to that with a safety and take that linebacker off the field. Well, we'll just run the ball because now we're bigger than you. So it's that ability to dictate to the defense and make them impossible to be right.
Wow, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got another one from Capwise.
I'm not a Giants fan. We need to pass to lose the key plays for the most. Okay.
Yes,
All right. There you go, Capwise. Yes. Yes. Now,
Go Pats.
the Pats, I mean, obviously what Drake May is doing at the quarterback position, he's playing really, really well. And Mike Vrabel, my former Patriot teammate, took a while for him to get them playing in his style, smart, clean, physical football. Mike Vrabel, of all the teammates I had in all 15 years in the NFL, was definitely the guy most suited to be an NFL head coach. And he's proven that with the Tennessee Titans and now with the New England Patriots. Just a tremendous football mind, the son of a football coach. So regardless of what happens with the Giants tomorrow and seeding and all that, if the Broncos and Patriots play, I know it's been such a great record for the Broncos beating the Patriots in these playoff games. It's still going to be a difficult out because Mike Vrabel's teams tend to play smart. They tend to play clean. And if the Broncos trends continue with being the most penalized team in the league, that is something that the Patriots may be able to capitalize on and create a difference in the ball game. So again, that's a big thing for me because it tends to bite you when you least expect it, being an undisciplined football team.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, let's look ahead a little bit too.
Okay,
what we got coming up here?
Well, coming up later in the show, hopefully we'll get some sound from BK.
Yes,
that's what we're hoping for as well. So we're going to continue to run this thing down and review the game here until BK is able to join us. Brandon Cristal, for those of you new to the podcast, I don't think anyone is new, but hopefully we got a few new folks. So Brandon Cristal is in the Broncos locker room, talking to players and coaches, getting some nuggets and sound bites, hopefully for us. But in the meantime, we'll keep it moving. Looking at the Broncos schedule here. We got a Nick Bonito postgame presser ready to play. So run that for us, Jesse.
Yay.
Oh, okay. I guess it's not ready to go yet. We'll try that one again here in a minute. But you want to look forward at the schedule, I'm assuming, Kristen Brown?
Yeah, because, there's always that, okay, what do we got coming up next? All I remember is Christmas.
Okay. So next week is an easy one. The Raiders are probably the worst team in football. They can't get it done defensively. They can't get it done offensively. The Raiders are just a bad football team. Who they lose to today? They lost 31-14 to the Chargers. So the Chargers are still keeping pace in the division. Obviously, the Broncos are ahead. So that's going to be a pretty critical matchup coming up later this season against the Chargers. But next week for the Broncos is the Raiders. We expect that to be a W. And again, going back to this game, I didn't want the Broncos to play down to the Commanders' level. Well, the Commanders didn't play their level. I don't think the Raiders have another level as the Commanders show tonight. I may be surprised. I may be getting a little ahead of ourselves, but I expect that to be a win. The week after that, it's Green Bay. Green Bay is legit, as we saw on Thanksgiving Day against the Lions. So that they're a legit football team.
They are coming to Denver, so that's good news.
Yes. No.
Oh.
Yeah, they are coming to Denver.
Okay.
You're right. Then the
I
week
know
after,
it's hard to play in Green Bay.
And the week after that is Jacksonville. I know Trevor Lawrence is, least something to be desired as a quarterback. He's still got a lot of interceptions, but they got a huge win, 25-3 over the Titans. Obviously, the Titans are struggling quite a bit, but Jacksonville is a legit football team, and it will be in the playoffs more than likely. And after Jacksonville on Christmas Day, so 4 days after the Jacksonville game on Christmas Day will be the Kansas City Chiefs.
Wow.
The Chiefs, who knows how it's going to go, if they're still going to have a playoff shot, a remote wild card shot at that point. But they still got pride. It's still Andy Reid. It's still Patrick Mahomes. They have yet to take their ball and go home. They're showing up every game.
Right.
They're giving great effort.
They might just be doing anything and everything as well.
They might have that looseness. Then we got the Chargers. That game is, at this point, is still to be determined. Again, I guess could be flexed. So that's the Chargers to end the season in Denver. So next week,
we still got some football.
Raiders, you get a chance to your point, work on some things, clean some things up cap-wise. Maybe this is the opportunity there. But then you finish up with a murderer's row of Packers, Jacksonville, KC, Chargers.
Now, do you think the bye affected the gameplay today?
I know Karen mentioned that. Oh, no, not Karen. Tanya mentioned that earlier. Gosh, every team does the bye a little bit differently.
Yeah.
And so the league mandates, the new collective bargaining agreement mandates, you've got to get 5 days off.
Okay.
So how teams come back from the bye, I guess it's up to the football character of that football team. Do guys, I don't monitor Broncos social media. I didn't see any pictures from Cancun. I didn't see any pictures from Vegas, so that's good. So hopefully they're focused on, Cancun is for after the season. Vegas is for after the season. We got a goal to get.
They're gonna have to go to Disney World because that's where you go when you win the Super Bowl.
Look at you. Well done, Kristen Brown. She'll be here all week.
Save that party in for Orlando.
Yeah, but the bye is always a concern. Do they come out flat? I don't think they were flat. I don't think they, were sleepwalking into this game. I just thought the Commanders showed up and played one of their better, if not best, football games this season, and the Broncos found a way to overcome a team that had nothing to lose and was willing to lay it all on the line.
So I guess the surprise today was how well the Commanders played.
Yeah, I don't think the Broncos sucked today.
No.
The Broncos didn't play down to the Commanders' level. We've seen the Broncos not be so good against the Titans. We saw them not so good for 3 quarters against the Giants. We saw them not so good against the Raiders on that Thursday night, which was just an awful football game to watch. Can't even believe I've found a way to store that in my memory. I'd love to just eject that.
Yeah, the football brain.
Yeah, but the Broncos showed up today, but so did the Commanders.
They did. We did not expect that.
And it's kind of that any given Sunday thing that I was hoping for in my game today, the Seahawks versus the Vikings. The Vikings did not show up, and it was not any given Sunday. It was a rough broadcast to get through.
Bad football.
Yeah, it was bad football.
For the Vikings.
Yes, yeah. All right. Again, we're still hoping for BK to show up. All right. Let's see if Jesse's got that sound ready. Okay, he's got it queued up. Split into 2 parts. All right, Jesse, roll that Nick Bonito sound.
Oh, that's good.
Having the club on impact you throughout the game as well, or was that the play that you're referring to?
It's just tough, just playing with it in general. But I just got to find ways to still be able to make plays even with it on. So.
When you win the number of tight games that you guys have won now, does it sort of build on itself and confidence in those kind of situations show through?
Yeah, 1,000%. I mean, we've been battle tested all year. There's no situation that we're new to. It was just a matter of just finding another way to win today, and we did that.
Is that the same thumb you've been dealing with most of the year?
Mm-hmm.
With the club?
Mm-hmm.
Playing with the club all along?
Mm-hmm.
Sean said that BJ changed up the call in the 2-point conversion. But how much did just a timeout kind of calm you guys down a little instead of rushing right to the next play?
Yeah, I mean, it was challenging all night for what they were doing. They were running no huddle dang near the whole game, so we were having to just get in the calls and having to play fast, and the timeout kind of helped. It kind of calmed us down a little bit, be able to get into what we were able to get into and get a stop.
Sean was saying that there's no apologizing for a win. You guys are celebrating in there just to get that 9th consecutive win, 4th consecutive road win. He also said that every Super Bowl team has these sorts of victories. Just what's the mindset when you're able to pull these out?
Yeah, I mean, and even if you look across the league this week, I mean, a lot of teams that were supposed to win those games lost a lot of them, and that's like the championship teams. We're going to find ways to win, and we did that today. So we're not going to take any win for granted. We know this was a game that we wanted to win, and we found a way.
All right, Nick Benito talking about the Broncos' kind of football character there. I like this when he said, there hasn't been a situation we haven't experienced this year. And so when you have that come what may football attitude, no matter who we play, no matter what happens, we're going to find a way to get it done. And that deep-seated belief, that's a special locker room to be in. And so over the course of 15 years, over the course of 15 years, I would say, maybe a third of my teams had that kind of collective, deep-seated belief. And it pays off. It pays off because when you have that in critical moments, rather than panicking, rather than hoping or wishing, you believe. And it's not going to be me making the play, then someone else is going to make the play. I mean, it showed up time and time again. The amount of one-score games this team has won, the amount of fourth-quarter victories they pulled out of the hat. So it's certainly a great attitude to have. Again, I think to Tanya's point and to your point earlier in the podcast about the heart attacks that they give Bronco fans and the heart palpitations and the anxiety. Are they trying to make me anxious? Because it's working. It's working. Yeah, it's absolutely working. But they continue to find ways to win.
I love what he said. He said we've been battle tested and we keep finding different ways to win. So they've won in so many different ways. And like you said, the belief. I didn't think about what that does in the locker room. Because when you have a team that's just winning all the time, doing their thing the same way, things are falling apart, you can get that discord in the locker room and finger pointing. They have a band of brotherhood, believing in each other. And I love the word battle tested. That's so good.
And they've got each other's back because there's been a number of times this season where the offense has not performed so well. And so Adam Troutman comes out and basically, attacks the folks on social media who are attacking Bo Nix.
Right.
And, fires back at them. So from a quarterback perspective, my teammates have my back. Rather than pointing the finger at the offense, y'all got to pick it up. Y'all got to do better. Y'all need to score more points. We're doing our side on defense. We got your back. Yeah. And so that's a great, to your point, band of brothers. That collective belief goes a long way from a football perspective, from a belief in each other perspective. And then it starts to show up in the game when our backs are against the wall and somebody's got to make a play. We don't panic. Somebody just makes a play.
Yeah, and then that diversity and inclusion, right? That list. How many people were throwing the ball and getting the ball? I mean, like you said, if this person's not going to do it, this person can do it. If this person needs help, this person can step in. If they're going to go towards Moss now at this point, Moss is ready to go. Surtan's back. Like, I don't know. I just feel like these are the things that are going to help us when we get to the postseason, because we're going to the postseason. That we know.
Yes.
So that we can celebrate today as well.
All right, we got more sound from Nick Benito here.
Each half, how well he did.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always trying to kind of glue it in, even when we're not on the field. So, I mean, obviously the play that he made where he's falling down and able to throw the touchdown to court, and even just a bunch of big plays that he made today, I mean, it was really impressive for, what he was able to do.
If you're not 8-2 on one-score games, games, so you're used to close games, but would this one feel a little different during and after just because of how deep into overtime it went, including the final play?
Yeah, obviously, it was on the road too, so I mean, it challenged us a lot. I mean, it was the Broncos versus everybody in the stadium, and like I said, man, I'm just happy we found a way to win. We've been battle tested all year, so today was nothing new. What we do.
Nick, you went over double-digit sacks today for the second year in a row. What's that mean to you to stack those back-to-back?
Yeah, that's big time, man. I mean, getting 10 sacks in this league isn't easy. Just finding ways to, just being effective with the quarterback, finding ways to be disruptive during the game is, always my main goal coming into the year. But being able to reach 10 again is real special for me. So.
And Sean said that going back to the two-point play, there's a free rusher. You guys don't know who it's going to be. When you figure out it's you as a free rusher, I got to imagine that your eyes light up even more. If you don't have a club, you may make a play on the ball. But just tell us what's going through your mind.
Yeah, I mean, I got a little bit of hands where I feel like I could have made it, but at the end of the day, I just was happy I found a way to, help the team win. That's really it.
Well, then I know you told us Von Miller was your favorite player growing up. Did you get a chance to talk to Von at all after the game or catch up with him? I mean, obviously, there's a lot of guys that you know.
Nah, I mean, I was the first person I tried to go find after the game, but I think he kind of left a little bit early. But we'll find ways to, get in touch later. So.
Thank you, Nick.
Yep.
Thanks, Nick.
All right, more good stuff from Nick Bonito. Going on the road as an NFL team. I mean, there's a reason why Vegas typically gives the home team 3 points when they're creating the spreads in the game.
Home team advantage.
The home team advantage.
Yeah.
But when you are able to go on the road as a football team, and it's literally, the 53 guys on the team, the support staff, so you feel like it's about 100 people. It's us 100 people versus 60,000 or 75,000 in the stands, and you're able to walk away with the win. That's another one of those galvanizing moments. And it's sometimes a home game from a good win at home can be a little less celebratory because you get a chance to celebrate, but then as soon as you get out of the locker room, you're with your family and your kids are there and you got to play dad. And, now you go home and you flip channels. And so it's not as much of a team celebration bonding thing as when you're on the road, because the locker room is going to be great and fun. Then you get on those buses to go to the airport, and everyone's having fun on those buses. Then you get on the plane before everyone falls asleep. We're all laughing and joking and having a great time. So the celebration gets extended on the road trip. Not only do we go on the road and get a win, not only do we make 75,000 people go home disappointed, but now we get this extra 4 hours of celebration together and get a chance to talk about the game together.
Wow. That's awesome. I never thought about that, but that's even more time of that band of brother building thing.
Mm-hmm.
But when he talked about it was them against the entire stands as well, to be able to still focus. And by the way, Bo was so calm in the fifth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
He was very calm.
That was a great drive.
Collected.
That was a great drive.
He was not frantic.
Mm-hmm.
He looked like so veteran back there. Was very impressed with that. But to think about, okay, you've got the 12th man, the stands, all those people making all that noise because there's no way anyone left and went home.
Mm-hmm.
And they still were able to keep it together and get it done. So that, again, goes to their benefit.
To your point, Bo Nix was 4 for 4 for 71 yards on that overtime drive.
Wow.
And,
Fantastic.
if you've seen enough of us, we are grateful that we can bring BK on so we can get one more face to look at. BK, we're ready for you, my friend.
All right, and I think I got a camera plugged into a battery, computer's charged. We'll hope the Wi-Fi at this kind of crappy stadium holds up. It's not very well liked around these parts for a number of reasons. It's hard to get to, and obviously 20 years of Dan Snyder's terrible ownership, and the press box. I don't know if you've ever called a game here, Chad. Press box is in the corner of the end zone. You want to check out Rick Lewis's Instagram or Twitter, and he's like, second worst vantage point in the league. Only Miami is worse, but it's also the lowest. So there's that. No matter what, though, the Broncos escape with a win. It's funny because I was standing right there when Nick Bonito talked about everybody being against them. There were a lot of Broncos fans, so much so that Bo Nix, who just got done talking a few minutes ago, and I'm guessing you haven't had a chance to get to Bo yet because of just the timing of when he finished. He was like, man, there were a lot of Broncos fans here, and either we travel really well, which he's like, and I know we do, but also just up around here, there's a lot of Broncos fans. So look, were there plenty of Redskins / football team / Commanders fans here? Of course. There were some empty seats, though, and you could get seats on the 50-yard line for $72 before kickoff. But nonetheless, the Broncos find another way to win. 9 straight wins. Bo Nix, I think, good, not great, but good. The offense, good at times, not great, but not terrible. And the defense, some vulnerabilities. The mobile quarterback of Marcus Mariota, which would have had the same thing, if not more, with Daniels, created a little bit of a challenge for him. And so they got to go back to the drawing board. But when they had to have a play, Nick Bonito, who's been their best defensive player all year long, came up with it.
Yeah, tremendous overtime win, obviously. Football character, football resilience on display for the Broncos. But sometimes you don't get to show your football character, football resilience, unless you allow the other team to be in the game. So I talked about before the game, the Broncos wanted to see them play to their standards. I thought the Broncos played to their standards, but the Commanders far outplayed what we expected they would be able to bring to the field tonight.
Yeah, and maybe some of it is, the mobile quarterback thing, and maybe some of the juice that getting Scary Terry back, who I think is kind of the heart and soul of their offense, and Terry McLaurin came up with some huge plays, obviously, throughout the game. We saw that, and the touchdown they got erased before they scored what would be the last touchdown in overtime before they went for 2. But maybe just bringing McLaurin back and knowing that Jaden Daniels is close is that injection. I'm sure you guys have caught that we had Von Miller on Football Fridays with Chris Harris and myself on Friday, and that was what he was excited about was Scary Terry coming back. So look, they didn't have anything to play for necessarily. I understand they're not mathematically, although they may be now, but they weren't mathematically out of the playoffs going into the game. You knew they were going to go for 2, and I think that they got that sense. In fact, that's something some of the defensive guys talked about was Alex Singleton said Hufanga after they scored maybe the touchdown that got taken away. He's like, look, they're going to go for 2 or whatever. So they were able to work their mind into that. But there was clearly some juice. Maybe it was Sunday Night Football. I don't know what it was, but the Commanders changed up some things defensively, as Sean Payton indicated, and were able to make some plays. And Mario either gets rid of the ball quickly, sometimes to nobody, sometimes to Broncos players, or almost to Broncos players, and then a lot of times to his team, or he gets out of there pretty quickly. And I think it's a reminder, because if anybody watched that quarterback show, you saw him lose his starting job there in Atlanta, but he's certainly going to be a backup for several more years and probably could be a starter. Is Marcus Mariota one of the best 32 quarterbacks in the league? You call games every weekend just about, Chad, and obviously watch every game. I think that in the right setting, Marcus Mariota can be a winning quarterback.
Well, I think Vikings fans would love to have him today over Max Brosmer. So
yeah,
that's 100% consensus among Vikings fans. Go ahead, babe.
Well, I was just going to say the resiliency today. And then we've seen the Broncos win in the 4th. To see them win in the 5th, to see Bo that calm, to see him just execute that drive so beautifully, I just saw that as such a great opportunity of taking more steps forward and still collectively going, we're just going to find another way to win that I think will benefit us in the postseason, especially because we certainly saw a surprise of a Washington team today.
Yeah, and they're going to get the Raiders' best shot, I think. Now, it's not Thursday night, it's not short week, but they're gonna go to Vegas next weekend and get whatever the Raiders have to offer. So, and then after that, you're looking at playoff teams for a stretch, or teams fighting for their playoff lives. When we talk about the Chiefs at the end of that 3-game stretch, and who knows where the Chargers will be in the mix and how healthy they'll be. But you're going to get, these teams want to play spoiler. They wanted to go win that game. And so to find that way to win an overtime win, which, they pointed out on the TV broadcast, we had another strange thing about this press box. So not only is it in the end zone, and I guess where I'm sitting, so it's right over there in the end zone, the TVs are outside of the press box, so behind a window, but then we could see, and it had captions on, so I could read what Chris Collinsworth and Mike Tirico were saying. But Collinsworth pointed out, I think that, or maybe it was Tirico, that the last time the Broncos won an overtime game was in Cincinnati, it was in Cincinnati in 2015 when they were on their way to Super Bowl 50. We know they lost an overtime game in Cincinnati last year, of course, between Christmas and New Year's, that next to last game. But so, yeah, finding a way to win an overtime game is funny. Bo said I haven't played too many of these. And I was like, has he played any? Yeah, he played that one. But it's been a minute since the Broncos have won much post Super Bowl 50. But as we continue to draw comparisons because of how much the defense has kept you in games all year and because of what you get from the offense, which is certainly inconsistency. Now, Peyton Manning in year 18 versus Bo Nix in year 2, that's a different, obviously, level of quarterback. And what Bo's able to do physically is obviously way different than what Peyton was doing at that point. But it is, as you alluded to, Kristen, another feather in your cap, another way to win a game. And they keep finding ways to win these one-score games. Do they want to be in one-score games? No. The people that bet the 6.5 after they get the touchdown plus extra point in overtime think, oh, I didn't think I was covering my 6.5, and now that I am, and I know we're not going to dwell on the gambling part of it, but the Broncos don't give a shit whether they won by 6.5 or by 7 or by 1. They won by 1. They're 10-2. They've won 9 straight. And if the Giants with Jackson Dart back out there tomorrow can go steal a win against the Patriots, then they will truly be the number 1 seed in the AFC. Obviously, with the Colts not only losing to the Chiefs, but then losing again today. And so I think, and Sean Payton was asked this by Jeff Legwold. He's like, look, do you look at this as a good thing? You keep winning these games, or there's a coach in you, and he didn't really get to finish his question before Sean jumped in. And he's like, you'll take all the wins you can get, but they know they can be better. And Bo Nix talked about that as well. He's like, we still have a lot of room for improvement on the offensive side of the football. And so I think that's exciting too, especially when you add to it, Sean saying this week, J.K. Dobbins could be back for the playoffs with that foot sprain. So, and the Liz Frank injury, because RJ Harvey, I think is progressing, and you keep seeing him find the end zone and make plays, but adding J.K. Dobbins would be a nice shot in the arm as they head to the postseason, where they could end up getting a bye. So they wouldn't even need him until week 2 of the playoffs.
Okay, so we don't apologize for the win. We it doesn't matter how it happens. Fourth quarter, overtime, you get the win. Ugly game against the Raiders, you get the win. But considering where we all expect this team to go, what would you say was the worst part of the game today and needs the most improvement?
Well, I think just the defense's inability to get off the field at times. They started out 6 for 7 on third down, where the Commanders, who are truly middle of the pack, they were 17th in the NFL ranked coming in. So I guess 16-17, 16-17, the middle. You can't be more middle than 16 or 17. And so that's where they were. But 6 of 7 to start, and then they finish just 8 of 17, which means that the Broncos, certainly in the second half and towards the end of the first half, started to lock it up on third down. We understand that penalties still were an issue, and I think maybe that's where you point to. It wasn't Riley Moss as much tonight, but Hufanga gets that PI, and you think he's making a good play, but he does clearly arrive early, and they still shoot themselves in the foot too many times, and I think that's until we see what feels like a really clean game, and we have yet to see that. That's going to concern me because it's correctable. You know that. I mean, mental mistakes versus, and I guess you can say a PI can be a physical mistake, but mistakes that you don't expect good teams to make, especially Sean Payton coach teams to make, is concerning. And come, playoff time, if you make, it's make one mistake and you could truly be going home. So I think that maybe concerns me the most. Also, Sean, they would pick up, good gains on the run game, and then he'd pass it. And it was like, why aren't you just still running the football until they stop it? Especially because there's such a bad rush defense coming in. So maybe those two things, penalties, which have yet to correct themselves or get corrected, and Sean still wanting to throw it. Because look, both threw for 321 yards. Like, there were obviously opportunities to pass the ball as well, but they were running the ball just fine. And I feel like he got away from it at times when he didn't need to.
Okay, well, I love what you said about Bo said that we still have a lot of improving to do. Because a couple weeks ago, you talked about playing your best football, and you really want to be playing your best football late in the season. So to know that this isn't as good as it gets gives me even more belief that we can go really far, as long as they keep getting better and better and better, which is what I believe we've been seeing. That this isn't the best. This isn't as good as it gets. There's better to come.
Yeah, and I think that's got to be exciting for Broncos fans. The defense, I don't say you've seen their very best, but you see when they're dialed in how great they can be. And so with PS2 back, with Alex Singleton back, big play he made on Zach Ertz, obviously great. When you're able to to get that effort from the defense week in and week out. You know what they're going to give you in the playoffs as well. Defense travels, although the way it's stacking up, the only plane they may have to get on in the postseason could just be a flight to San Francisco, fingers crossed, there in late January, early February, because I don't have the dates in front of me. I guess it'd be probably early February, 1st or 2nd, to get on a plane. But their offense has plenty of room to improve. And, you know, it's a simple thing. I was sitting by our pal Romy Bean in the press box. Cortland gets targeted and catches the ball late in the first half. She's like, what have they been doing? I was like, he might have been getting double teamed. I'm not obviously tracking every play in real time to follow his court getting double teamed. But, you know, Bo was throwing to guys that were in single coverage or open, or throwing it away or throwing it into the ground, minus the Bobby Wagner interception. But that's what he had been doing. And I know that came later. But regardless, he gets it to Cortland. That kind of opens things up. And then he makes a heck of a play, does Bo, you know, under pressure, falling to the ground. I thought maybe his knee was down. Sean Payton said we thought maybe his knee was down, but makes a great play, and Cortland comes up with a ball. So I'm saying all that to say, get Cortland Sutton involved early and often, and it feels like good things happen.
Okay. What was the mood and temperature of the locker room? We escaped with the win, or is it more we showed our football character and we got the win? Because there's a difference there, and then that difference also, to me, indicates how serious you are taking some of these issues, the penalties, the undisciplined play, things like that.
Yeah, look, and they do the club dub thing with the smoke machine and the loud music, and that's, you know, the thing that Sean brought over from New Orleans, and they certainly embrace it. They don't put video of it out, but we will see, I'm sure, some still photos of it. And I'll say this: the Commanders aren't a good team, but they were in the NFC title game a year ago, right? Or won a couple playoff games for sure.
Championship
and
game.
So,
yes.
Yeah. So without Jaden Daniels, they're not the same. But Jaden Daniels and Marcus Mariota is certainly a better situation than a lot of teams have. As you mentioned, you know, the Vikings being at the top of the list, but lots of teams, even from their number 1 to their number 2, there's a more significant drop off. And they got McLaurin back, and they've got Bobby Wagner on defense. They have Von Miller, guys that know how to win. And I realize, you know, Von wasn't here last year, but I'm saying this was a good football team a year ago that didn't just forget how to play football. They've had some terrible injury luck. McLaurin's missed, I think, upwards of 8 games. Obviously, Daniels has missed that many, if not more. And so just right there with your 2 best offensive players, they lose Colorado's own Austin Eckler early in the year to an ACL. And so they aren't the team they were a year ago. We get that. But they're not a bad football team. It's bad luck, and I think it's a bad year. But talking to people, I've been here since Tuesday in the DMV because we were here for the Thanksgiving holiday. They're certainly trending up. When you've got that guy at quarterback and they're just in year 2 with Daniels, they're going to be just fine. And so I think that the Broncos aren't like, oh, we played down to our competition. It was, they got their best effort from a team on Sunday night, and we still found a way to escape with a win. Kind of like what we were talking about earlier when Kristen talked about them finding another way to win, winning in overtime and another box they can check. And so I think that, you know, they're not making Super Bowl plans, but as Bo said in his last answer, when I asked him about them being 10-2 and a run at the Super Bowl, and he's like, look, our goal wasn't to be 10-2, you know, heading into December. They want to win most of their games. But he's like, that wasn't the end goal. It was like, we want to win more games, and we want to obviously go far into the playoffs and win it all. And so I think that that's kind of the mood you got. But they weren't in a bad mood. They were goofing around. Now they're not getting on a plane either. They're flying out tomorrow morning. Sean's really into the sleep science, and so they are gonna get a good night's sleep here versus getting home at 3-4 a.m. Then you got everything that comes with being back at home and kids and dogs and significant others and family and this and that. So they're going to get a good night's sleep, but they were certainly relaxed and relieved, but I don't think they were overly celebratory with this win because of how it kind of played out at the end.
You got anything else for BK?
Sleep science.
Yeah.
I love that. I believe in sleep science too.
You got anything else for BK?
I believe I'm not going to get a lot of sleep because I have a 6:45 a.m. flight, and it is 1:20 here. So I'm not saying I don't want to keep talking to you guys, although it is 33 degrees. I'm not even wearing my jacket. My hands are a little cold. Nonetheless, it was good to see them get away. They also may want to take the chairs that all my stuff is set up on because they took all the other chairs. But nonetheless, if you got anything else,
give an opportunity, BK, before you head off to get some good, 3-hour sleep before your flight. Anything else to give us from the locker room or from your view there at the stadium?
So all I heard was view at the stadium. Ask me that one more time. The middle part.
Say, before we let you go and get 3 hours of sleep before your early flight, anything else from the locker room or anything else you noticed from the stadium that we didn't pick up during the broadcast?
No, other than it's Bo Nix is just interesting to be around, and he was all smiles. I want to make sure you guys go watch some of his post game stuff that we'll have up on our Guerilla Sports feeds, but it'll be everywhere. You can watch the whole thing on the Broncos feeds. Because the questions about confidence and about his ability in the clutch, or the plays that he's made in the clutch, there is something special about that ability. And Chad, you played around 1 million quarterbacks and played against 1 million quarterbacks, and I'm sure you could get the sense the guys that they just had that it. We heard Vance Joseph say it to Big Al and CJ last weekend in Boulder that he's got that it. We see him make those plays in practice all the time, and we've seen him make it in games. That when it matters, he can go make plays. Now, it didn't work out last year in the playoffs against Buffalo, but for as much as this offense has struggled, I think that's the thing that you're probably most excited about. And RJ Harvey kind of growing up before our eyes, because he's going to be asked to do more and more, and he keeps finding the end zone and keeps making plays when given a chance for the most part. So I think it's exciting to see where Bo is. He may not be exactly where everybody expected him to be, but his numbers are almost identical to Josh Allen's and Justin Herbert's, and everybody loves those two guys, right? Justin's the best quarterback that hasn't done anything yet, and Josh Allen's the reigning MVP. And his numbers are, I think, literally same yards, same passing touchdowns, same interceptions, more or less, right around 19, 20 to 8, 9, 10, and same yards. So I think that's kind of my takeaway is that, I am a Bo lever at this point, and I am buying Bo Nix stock, even if not everyone in Broncos country, or certainly not everybody around the NFL is.
Well, BK, get some good sleep, man. Thanks for joining us. And
I don't know if it'll be good sleep, but
show. Yeah,
it'll be something. All right, thanks, guys, and I will talk to you guys next week from Sin City.
All right, see you, buddy. Travel safe. Well, we'll wrap it up from here in Seattle, talking about another heart attack-inducing, anxiety-inducing Bronco win. Again, for my folks who asked me about my thoughts about the Broncos around the country and all their doubts, all they do is win, no matter what. So we'll take another Bronco W. And again, for Kristen and I, and for everybody at Guerilla Sports, thanks for tuning in, checking out the pod. We always appreciate that. We love the comments as well. Hit us up on Twitter at ChadBrown94, at Kristen Brown 94 or Kristen Brown.
Oh, geez. You know what? Find me through him because I think I know it might.
Okay.
I think it's Kristen Brown.
All right, Kristen Brown, Chad Brown 94. Hit us up. Hit me up on Twitter, X, or whatever you call it nowadays, whatever the kids call it.
Yeah.
With comments, thoughts. We love bringing these post games to you. It's fun for us, and we want to make it fun for you guys as well. Thanks for tuning in. See you guys next time.
Sleep science. Go get it.